Welcome everybody. It's 2 minutes past 11. We still have a lot of guys signing in. I was actually very excited when I saw the smaller group, because initially it looked like there was only going to be about 30 guys in the meeting. So it would have been a nice, small, personal meeting, and it's now turning into a group AGM, or an industry body AGM, which I suppose is fine. So something that's interesting about AREP is when we created the AREP Constitution, normally with these types of meetings, you are supposed to have a quorum. And the issue with having a quorum when you have a very large industry body is having 50% of the members attend the meeting. At the moment, AREP has more than 5,500 members, so it's going to be virtually impossible to have a quorum at any meeting. So the way that the Constitution has been drafted is to make provision for the meeting to go ahead without a quorum, because the decisions aren't necessarily made by members. And the reason why the decisions aren't made by members is simply because you guys have other stuff to do. You have businesses to run, you have money to make. So I think it's very difficult for guys who want to keep their businesses afloat to still spend time on trying to figure out what an industry body is and how it works. So to those of you that have just logged in, welcome. This is the annual AGM. So what makes this different to any other member meeting is that we are going to be discussing financials. We are going to be looking at where the industry is going, where the association is going. And yeah, so there are one or two slides that are slightly different to what a normal members meeting is going to be. For those of you that have just logged in, I'm stuck in Beaufort West. I'm not stuck in Beaufort West. I'm on my way from Joburg to Cape Town, and this is where I am at the moment. So it is a formal meeting in an extremely informal environment. I do apologize. I was still trying to get a button shirt to make it look good and to make it look formal, but I can't get to my suitcase. Anyway, guys, welcome. I think it is time we can formally start the meeting. I see we still have some guys logging in. The meeting is being recorded, so for those of you that want to have a recording, I'm sure Maretia will upload it to the AREP YouTube channel. Maretia, can we start?
I think so. Yes, go for it.
Do you want to share the slides, or how do we share?
It should be showing. Is it not showing on your side?
Is it showing? Okay, so what I could maybe do is spotlight the share. I don't know. Does it make the screen bigger if I take that away?
See the screen.
I am sorry, say again.
We can see the slides.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I can't see the slide. So I can see the slide right at the top of the screen, but I can actually not see what is displaying. So maybe I will make use of the online version. So let's get started. Guys, welcome. My name is Carel Ballack. I am My designation within AREP is president. That might be changing, but we will have a discussion about that a bit further into the slide deck. The agenda for today is the welcome and opening. I think I've done that. We're going to look at the approval of the agenda, annual report, financial report, future of AREP, office bearers. That's a fancy word for guys doing the work within AREP and guys responsible for the financial well-being and sustainability of the organization. Then we've got the confirmation of the auditor, and the last section is just going to cover general business. Is there anybody or are any of you interested in adding any topics into the agenda? Is there anything you'd like to discuss? Is there something missing that you'd like us to add to the agenda before the agenda is approved? I'll give it another 10 seconds. Okay, guys, it doesn't look like it. If you change your mind during the presentation, you are welcome to add questions in the chat box, and then we'll take care of those as we move along and probably towards the end of the presentation. Okay, next slide, please. Maretia, I think you are going to be handling this slide, and I'll make a couple of notes as you move through the various slides that follow.
Okay, perfect. Good morning, everyone. My name is Maretia Wiggett. I am part of the AREP team. I have the privilege of serving as the operations director. And I'm just going to talk you through some of the things that happened last year. It's a very short list for a very long year, but we're just going to look at some of the highlights. So first of all, we, as always, made time during last year to update our P4 accreditation. So we have at the moment a P4 level 1, 2, and 3. And we have a little steering committee that gave some dedicated time every month to start from the beginning of each test and go through to the end and review all of the questions and make sure that the questions are still relevant, that they reflect what is happening in the field and can bring the most benefit to whoever is taking the test. So the questions was updated for P4 level 1 and level 2. We do make time every year to update the tests and make sure that it remains relevant. It is not a stagnant test. It is not a stagnant accreditation. It is something that grows with the industry as we all develop. Then we have our P4 level 3 review, peer review program. So that is the reason why Carel has been traveling and why he is currently sitting in his car in Beaufort West. He has been spending a lot of time on site with a lot of you, probably who is in the meeting, visiting your sites and doing the AREP hybrid test report as a way of assessing a site to see whether it is fully functioning and compliant. And then based on that, we would then extend P4 level 3 peer review program accreditation. So just in case you don't know what the P4 peer review program, it's a very long name, what the P4 level 3 is. If you don't know what it is, it's basically a review program where practitioners that are working actively in industry get to spend time with other practitioners working actively in industry, looking at how we do installations, vice versa, and then evaluating each other's evaluations based on the hybrid test report, basically going through the test report, checking things based on what the report requires. And then in this way, you can, if you become a P4 level 3 accredited person, we as the association pay you to go out to go do this assessment on someone else who wants to become part of the program. So we pay you a fee to go out and do that. And then obviously there's a lot happening based on this interaction. We learn from each other. We actually engage with other people. We see how they do business, how they quote. It's a lot of conversations that need to happen, which we don't always make time for in our busy days running from site to site. So I think it's a good way to just earn a very small additional little revenue in your company, but also then to intentionally make time to engage with other practitioners and learn from each other. So we're very fond of the program, and we think it's going to be a good addition to industry as we roll it out. We're still in the rollout process, but Carel has spent the last 2 weeks driving. How many kilometers did you say that was, Carel? Was it over 3,000 kilometers that you would have driven?
So the section or the leg that we've covered now would have started in Cape Town, gone through Bloemfontein. I think we did Vryheid, Hammanskraal. It was going to do Limpopo and Sanin. It was about a 4,500 kilometer trip for this leg, and that excluded the trip that's coming up where we are doing George and the Eastern Cape. Just before I hand back to you, I think what I've appreciated most about what we've just done and the time that I've spent with some of you guys is the level of innovation and yeah, I think innovation and the plans that the installers are making to make things work. I think what I've learned through the process is just how flexible and dynamic the industry is. And it has really been amazing to see what the guys are doing to make things work in their area. You'd find guys in Bloemfontein, for example. One of the inspections I did was Donnie's place. And what I found interesting was the way they do installations and how they test their sites would be completely different to the guys in Hammanskraal, for example. Different materials in different areas. Even the guys in Pietermaritzburg had some interesting products that they used for mounting structures. And yeah, it's been an honor to have a look at those installations, and it's been an amazing learning curve. So yeah, it's been fun, but it's not over yet. Thanks,
Okay,
Maretia.
cool. All right. Another thing that was quite big last year was the series of meetings that we had with Eskom. We hosted 3 out of 4 meetings. The plan was to do 4 meetings. It ended up we only did 3 regarding the registering of your solar PV system with Eskom. So I'm not going to get into the detail of what the current status is of that whole affair, but last year we did spend quite a lot of time trying to update industry and get to what actually needs to happen. Those recordings are available online on YouTube if you actually still have questions. There's a very good meeting that we did with Chris Yelland that is probably the best one to watch. So watch that one first if you are interested in knowing what's happening. Then last year we also had, let me just get all of these meeting notifications on the way so I can see the slide. Okay, yes. So we also had a couple of meetings about the proposed renewable energy custom tariffs. So those were actually very productive. We were able to get a lot of the distributors that are working actively to import quality products into South Africa. We were able to get them access to very valuable information. We were also able to submit a proposal based on the meetings and the conversations that we had with all of our members. So thank you for everyone that participated in that and sent in your comments and your proposals. That has been submitted to the department. I don't know, Carel, do you have an update on that? Or shall we not get into it right now?
Maretia, I don't have an update on that particular topic right now.
Okay.
What I do know is that there was a consultant that managed to help quite a few members with their import tariffs. and because there was a way to reduce import tariffs by changing the code of the products being imported. So I know there was something there. But yeah, I don't have another update on that.
Okay. Okay, so we don't know what the feedback is from the department yet on our proposals. All right. Then obviously last year we had our monthly members meetings. I think that we discussed some very valuable topics. That's obviously the plan for this year as well. We try to get together as an industry body every month to check in, to ask questions. So please, if you have any questions during the course of the year or any random week, make a note of it, and then be sure to join the members meeting, and then you can ask. You can quite literally ask any industry related question. There will probably be someone in the room that has the answer or has some starting point where you can start to find the answer. It's always a very collaborative meeting, which I personally really enjoy. So just inviting everyone to the members meetings as always. Last year, we also participated in a PhD industry research project, which was led by Nicole. She's a PhD student. So we spent some time engaging with her, trying to help her understand the actual industry as an academic. As most of us know, there's quite a big difference between the theory or the academic theory of an industry and the way it operates on the ground. So we try to be the bridge between those two worlds. We sent out some questionnaires, which you might have seen. Every time we do send out a questionnaire or a survey and you take the time to fill it in, it is very, very valuable for us. So thank you so much for answering our questions and participating where you can. I know that it's overwhelming sometimes, the amount of emails we get and the amount of rings and pings and dings that we all have to deal with on a daily basis. So when you do take the time to read the AREP communications and to respond to it, we really do appreciate it. Thank you for being an active member in that way. Last year, we also had a big meeting about the electrical installation regulations and the fact that it hasn't been updated in an age, and that we feel that there has been so many developments on the ground and the regulations don't really reflect that, which was also a productive conversation. Carl, do you want to say something about that?
So while I was driving yesterday, I heard someone quoting something to the effect of if there is no leadership in a specific area, you are going to have a power struggle. And what I do find is that the Department of Labor is absent from the electrical sector. And I think this was in part because Peter Loubser was busy or at the end of his career, and at the point we needed to retire. Jacob Malatsi is at the point where he's going to retire. So we see a lot of guys that have been in the industry or in the department for a very long time leaving. The information that they have provided the chief inspector has not been accurate on the sector, and the information that the DOEL has on what happens in the sector is not accurate. So we see a whole lot of guys in industry making bold claims about how the various regulations should be interpreted, and the Department of Labor is nowhere to be found. So it's extremely difficult to navigate an environment when the department is not accepting ownership and taking the leadership role in the sector. So that has been fairly challenging, Maretia, but that's about as far as we can go with that particular thing. I know that they have updated one of the other regulations that was out for comment, and that comment window is closed. I think that was towards the end of last year already. So the chief inspector did indicate that they were going to do an update to the electrical installation regulations in 2026, which is kind of where we are now, but we haven't had any other or additional feedback from them. They are not easy to get hold of.
Okay, great. Thank you for that context. And then the last thing I thought to mention is that AREP is going through some organizational changes. So since its inception, it has been registered with the Department of Social Development. So we were known as an NPO, a nonprofit organization. We have since decided to change that registration and move over to basically the CIPC, which falls under the Companies Act. So we have registered as a non-profit company or a not-for-profit company. We have an NPC number now, which you would have seen at the beginning on the welcoming slide. And that is why also Carel mentioned that his designation as president might change. We might need to do some new designations. Yes, Carel.
Okay, thanks, Maretia. Yeah, guys, it's extremely exciting. So the change from the Department of Social Development to CIPC registration just changes the legal entity of the organization. It's not going to change anything within AREP as far as you guys know AREP and in the function that AREP fulfills. What it does is it places a different responsibility on tax responsibility. So the tax requirements and the tax responsibilities for an NPC is slightly more onerous. Let's correct that. It's a lot more onerous. And there are lots of additional requirements, and that was necessary for us to do because we were busy doing research around the EPR regulations and the recycling acts. So that necessitated AREP to change the registration. So that's why it happened. What will also happen is there is going to be a change of bank accounts, but we will communicate that to you guys as we move along. I believe it will be a slightly gradual process. We've got a lot of members. And all of the guys receiving the communication don't always read all of the emails. I would be guilty of that as well. So we might have to leave both accounts open for a kind of a changeover period just to make sure that all the members are aware of where AREP is and where it is in the process of moving over. Thanks, Maretia.
Yeah, I'm sure we will communicate the bank account changes very gradually, and we will make sure that everyone knows and has the correct details. All right, so that was the list that I thought to share with you. Now let's just take a look at some stats, just some numbers from the association. So let me just open this slide. Okay, so AREP's membership grew by 14% over the last year. We went from 4,700 members to 5,300, which is, yeah, it's a good percentage of growth. Then we are just showing you our founding and our company member numbers as well. So there's been some slight increases in the wait, what is that? Now that's a decrease. Let me just check. Look at that. Slight decreases, not increases. So may this be a reminder and a motivation for you to get involved on a founding or a company membership as part of AREP. Yes, Carel, I see you turned on your video.
Maretia, yeah, so the decrease we see there, we actually discussed it just before we started the meeting. We're only in February now, or we're in March. So we're still in the beginning of the year. And what those figures show for 2025 would be the number of members for the full period. And you may have had some guys that signed up towards the end of 2025. If I look at where we are for 2026, it looks like it's less, but I suspect that by the time we get to the end of the year, we would have seen a slight increase in all of those memberships. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the figures are closer towards the end of the year.
So the founding and the company memberships are a type of membership which gives you a set of additional benefits. All membership, individual membership of AREP is free. So individuals don't need to pay to be part of the association. But if you want your company logo displayed on our website, if you want to be able to use a set of additional benefits, then you can take out a founding membership or a company membership. If you are interested in associating your company in this way with us, you can reach out to Anne. She's the one that manages all of those relationships. I personally think it is a good thing to be involved in this way, to associate your company with us. And I also think that this is part of how the association is able to do what it does. It's because of the members that we have that commits financially and a little bit more of their time.
Maretia, one thing that I'd also like to mention is maybe just from a membership point of view. So years and years ago, I was involved in an industry body where, and for most industry bodies, it's a kind of a grudge purchase because you've got banks and institutions or wanting to have your membership certificate or whatever the case may be. And maybe you don't see the benefit in being part of an organization. And that is why there is a free membership tier. In other words, join AREP free of charge. Have a look and see whether you get value out of the association. And if you find that you are busy gaining benefit out of the organization, then it would be nice to, instead of having a free membership, contribute to support AREP financially so that AREP can continue doing what it's been doing for industry. We've got some exciting stuff coming up, and yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. So, but that I'm going to cover a bit more on that closer towards the slides towards the end of this presentation.
Okay, so on the screen now are just the stats for the P4 accreditations. So you can obviously see the reflection of what's happening in industry by the adoption of the P4 accreditations. In 2023, it skyrocketed, and now where we are now, 2025, 2026, it is down to only 370 individuals who have updated their P4 level 1 and level 2 accreditations, which is a shocking drop, really, as I suppose we have all experienced in industry itself.
Maretia, also just as a side note, the like the level 2 accreditation has an expiry date over a period of 3 years. So what you'll find is that the guys who signed up in 2023, 2024 might only renew again in 2026. So I think what the figures show us that's interesting is the drop and the decline in the market, the consolidation of the industry with load shedding fading away. So the guys that are now signing up are guys that are committed to the sector, guys that are serious about the industry, and guys that have been able to establish themselves within the sector. So although it looks negative, I'm kind of excited about where the industry is going and the kind of dynamic that's developing within the sector.
That is true. We did a recent poll to all of the members asking whether they've experienced changes in the industry. And then one of the questions was whether they have a positive outlook of the industry. And everyone has, well, not everyone, there was a very large percentage of members that indicated that activity in their specific sector was down in the industry. And the next question saying what their outlook is in terms of the industry. Was it positive? Were they negative? Were they pessimistic? The vast majority of practitioners then, even though they said that activity is down, they still said that they are very optimistic about industry. So it just goes to show that we're very robust. I think that people are excited about what is coming, but the reality is that it is changing. Industry is definitely changing. Activity is shifting from parts to other parts, but it is good to see that the guys that are remaining in industry is positive about what is coming. All right, so this is the financial part, which I'm going to hand over to Carl.
So what we saw last year was an absolute, I don't know what to call it. What was it, Jamie Oliver in his, I know industry annual general meetings are supposed to be serious. And so the way I'm saying this is not intended to take away from the seriousness of the nature, serious or nature of the meeting. But Jamie Oliver, he has this cooking program, and in one of his videos, he was busy preparing food, and I don't remember whether it was strawberries, but he said, "There you go, absolutely macerated." Now, last year, AREP's financials is kind of described by the term macerated. We made a massive loss. AREP is a non-profit company or non-profit organization. It doesn't mean that we have to make a loss. So as a non-profit organization, you can make a profit. But we took on some ambitious projects last year, and that unfortunately has had an extremely negative impact on the cash flow of the organization, and that coupled with the decline in demand from the sector as a result of the lack of load shedding. So we can see that the market has declined. What AREP has done is we have diversified. We have started with new processes that will bring in fresh income and fresh cash flow into the organization to make sure that AREP is financially sustainable. Guys, to those of you that are interested, the financials are supposed to be made available to the public. So if there are some of you that are interested in going through the financials, you're welcome to contact Anne or Maretia, and we can set up a meeting and we can work through the financials with you. We don't really have anything to hide, so it doesn't really matter if you are interested in having a look at what is going on at a slightly deeper level. You are welcome to do so. Maretia, can we skip over to the next one? So the future of AREP is fairly exciting. We've created an online ECOC. We have we actually started testing the online COC platform in November last year already. And I remember looking at the platform and going, yes, we should have this finished by Black Friday, which was supposed to be the end of November. And by the middle of December, I was still sorting out issues. And then we had a whole fresh batch of guys joining the online COC platform in the beginning of February. And that created a whole another level of coding and fixes, all of them small things that had to be fixed. One of the most predominant questions I'm getting is it legal? Is AREP allowed to sell COCs? Absolutely. There's a misconception in industry that the chief inspector issues numbers for COCs. Guys, the chief inspector has nothing to do with electronic or printed COC numbers. They have no idea who issues them. They have no idea who's printed them. They don't know who signed them. So the Department of Labor is not present as far as COCs are concerned. We have the permission directly from the Department of Labor to be able to do this. And it is covered in one of the regulations, which I'm happy to share with you guys, where it says you are allowed to generate COCs. The numbers are just supposed to be sequential. So our online eCOC platform is completely legal. It fits into the regulatory framework. And yeah, if you are interested in taking it for a test drive, contact Anne. We are, because of the sensitive nature of COCs, we have to approve guys on a individual basis. So it's not a kind of a click and join approach. It's a register and wait to be approved approach. There are a couple of glitches that we have to sort out in the back end as we go along, but it's exciting, it's vibrant, and it's legal. Then we've got the solar PV industry specific EPR solution. So we have completed the EPR solution. EPR it really just covers the recycling of panels, batteries, and inverters. The issue within the sector was that so far the funds that have been contributed to EPR has been allocated to something that is called general e-waste, and general e-waste would be something like computers, printers, microwaves, television sets, that kind of thing. So most solar scrap or solar waste has been likened to e-waste. We've created a solution that fits the industry. What I'd like to think is better. Because solar panels last 25 years, batteries at least 10, inverters, some inverters have a 25-year warranty. So you need to have a solution that caters the technology for where it is in the sector and not necessarily just the fact that it's electronic. It should now fall under general electronic waste. Then our collaboration, if we look at where the sector is going, energy is the next big frontier. So once everybody has solar on their roofs, the next step would be power and energy management. And IPA is an organization that looks at training and accreditation for guys who want to issue energy performance certificates. We are looking at setting up training for it. I know that Trevor Tapan does training for the energy performance certificates as well. But through the IPA relationship, it kind of extends to other countries, other neighboring countries, and it extends across borders. So that's an interesting relationship to keep going and to monitor. Then I am still involved with the IEC and SABS working groups. Hopefully you guys would be able to get updated information on the process of the development of new standards, policy and regulations, Department of Employment and Labor Engagement. Guys, we are talking to a couple of organizations as far as the standards and regulations are concerned, and the Department of Labor would be one of them. I have only managed to get one meeting with the Chief Inspector. I'm hoping that this year we will get another engagement, and I'm hoping to have an industry engagement with the Department of Labor. So that'll be valuable. Then we are also engaging with the City of Cape Town through the Western Cape government. That's a whole different story. The way the Western Cape government relates to the City of Cape Town is interesting when you start looking at compliance and what they require. In other words, do they need an engineer to sign off and that kind of thing? So we are busy engaging with the Western Cape government and the City of Cape Town. Then electrician continued development, and then I've got a dash pathway to engineering. Something that struck me as interesting in the electrical sector is once you become an electrician, once you've reached installation electrician status, i.e. status, that is where your career ends. That is like the pinnacle of what you can become. You have reached it. There might be some guys who would be interested in becoming a master electrician. So maybe for some of you, there's scope to take that extra step. Although I've heard from a lot of guys who are master electricians that the responsibilities on a master electrician is insane. And so there are guys who don't want to become master electricians. So what do you do once you've reached, so you've been a single phase tester, you've become an installation electrician, where do you go from there? So what we are planning on doing is creating a pathway where every course you attend, so through your general engagement, there are lots of you who have attended standards courses with the ECA, who have attended surge and lightning protection courses, who have attended courses on how to commission different brand inverters and that kind of thing. So everybody is continuously busy developing themselves. Why can we not use those courses to increase your qualification? So what if you are an installation electrician now, and over the next 3 or 4 years, every time you attend a course, you get credited with points for attending those courses, and then in about 4 years' time, you have the opportunity to become an electrical engineer or a consultant or an energy engineer. Why is that not an option for the electrical sector at the moment? Why do we have to end with being an installation electrician for the rest of your life? There are some of you that are happy with being an IE, and sometimes it's easier just getting in the bucky, sorting out the problem, issuing a COC, getting paid, and moving on. But what if you had the opportunity to use those courses to improve your level of knowledge and your level of qualification? So that is what AREP is going to do. AREP is going to create a pathway to engineering from an electrician to an engineer over a couple of years. So that to me is super exciting. I cannot wait to start with the process and start marketing the process. I don't think we are too far away, but let's see how it goes. Then, as a member, you are urged to think outside the box and make AREP work for you. Guys, I've said this in more than one meeting. AREP was created to serve industry. So if you know the guys in your municipality and the way they make decisions are not correct, AREP can create an email address for you. So instead of it saying John at ABC Electrical, it could say John at arep.online or whatever the case may be. And you can represent the guys in your area at your municipality as if you are actively involved and actively responding from the industry body. So you can change the way your environment works by using AREP as the, yes, this is the wrong word to use in the electrical sector, but use AREP as the conduit, or use AREP as the vehicle, or use AREP as the mechanism to change your environment and your sector. Guys, you know who the officials are in your municipal environment. You know who to talk to, what they are saying, what the feedback is, and you shouldn't necessarily wait for AREP to respond. You can do it faster because you know who the guys are. You've just spoken to him. You can send him an email. You can CC in the guys at AREP, and then it's an official document that carries a lot of weight. Otherwise, the municipal officials might think that you are biased or you are only acting on your own behalf or whatever the case may be. Make AREP work for your business. That is why AREP is there. And then, so we have had a number of guys saying, listen, you guys have level 1, you have level 2, you have level 3, but we don't have anything for a larger scale battery energy storage systems. So if there are some of you that are interested in assisting AREP in creating questions and setting up a platform for different level P4 accreditation, I mean, why not? That will give you a different kind of accreditation for an industrial, commercial, and PV farm application. That'll be amazing. So if there are some of you that are interested in putting questions together and maybe meeting once a month, let us know if you want to participate in that initiative. Previously, it's only been open to guys who are offering training, but we have a lot of engineers out there who have done large installations, who know what needs to be included, who knows what needs to be asked. And this is your opportunity to participate in an initiative that is bigger. And it's going to be an industry-wide initiative. So yeah, that's going to be amazing. And then, Maretia, can we skip over to the next slide, please? So guys, we have a chairman and obviously a vice chairman. The vice chairman is Trevor Tappan and the chairman is Jock Brown. Jock has been chairman for a couple of years. He's had additional family members that has been added to his, let me call it his profile, his father profile. And that has put some additional strain on Jock's time. So he has indicated that it's time for him to move on. If there are some of you that are interested in nominating yourself or nominating someone else for a chairman, then you're welcome to do so. I did think of opening it up to to Trevor Tapan, but it sounds like Trevor is extremely busy with other commitments. But I will still have the conversation with Trevor, and because it's only fitting to go from vice chair to chair. So if there are some of you that are interested in spending a bit more time with AREP, I don't really think it's that much time, because the idea is that the guys who are busy with the admin side of AREP will do all the work, and the chairman and vice chairman are really just there to make sure that the guys who are busy doing the work are not being corrupt. So it's more around financial compliance and due diligence, kind of just making sure that if there are things done, money is not being wasted, that what we say on the financials are actually what is happening within the organization. We do have, Maretia, if we skip over to the next slide, we do have auditors that are involved with the financials for the organization, and they do audited financial statements. And Mario Leroux is a chartered accountant, so I would like to think that our financials are accurate and squeaky clean and free from corruption, if I can call it that. Free from corruption and wrongful spending. So if there are any of you interested in becoming more involved with the association, please let us know. And then I think the last slide says we are going to open the floor for member input. Let me just run through the questions quickly and see if there are. Wiggett says that he has not been successful in being able to isolate strings remotely. Wiggett, maybe. So when you do things like microinverters and that kind of thing, you can isolate panels, and if there's an issue, it obviously isolates the string. If there are some of you that have fancy solutions for Wiggett to isolate strings, or maybe even isolate per panel, that'd be great. No problem, George. Lawrence says he'll be doing the refresh course, and that there's some of control and monitoring. Lawrence, yes. So the control and monitoring is interesting. We have been asked by IPA actually to create a monitoring solution. So when guys write the exams, they are being monitored, and it's done in a proctored environment. So we might make the next level exam a proctored exam to comply to a more international community. Brett said it would be a fantastic opportunity. I think that's to go from electrician to engineer. Mulefe Naftali says he'd like to have more information. And then Albert says on the solar registration, Eskom is taking long to respond. Albert, regrettably, I don't know whether I want to say they are worse than the Department of Labor, but Eskom has 50,000 employees. The guys in the admin department don't know what the guys in the sales department are selling, and they don't know what the guys in the engineering department are engineering. So it's a bit of a mess, which has given Outa the free rein to spread as much information as they can, whether it has been false or not. but Outer has been taking Eskom to the cleaners as far as registration and registration requirements are concerned. So I don't really have an answer for you. As long as you've sent in the documents, I think that's fine. If they take long to respond, that's okay. Rather if you are going to register, fill in your form and submit it, and then you wait for them to respond. Lawrence says that will work within the classroom effect. Yes, Lawrence, that is correct. But you can so you can create an online exam that is proctored. So you do get equipment that allows you to switch a camera on, and it'll just be pointing behind you to show that there's no one behind you giving you the answers. I think we will rather opt for something like that. With AREP having members throughout South Africa, I just think of the guy that I visited in Vryheid. He was the only guy thinking that he was central, because he stays in Vryheid, so he knows what's in his area, but he's central because he's 4.5 hours from Joburg, 4.5 from Bloemfontein, and 4.5 from Durban. That to me is not central. That is isolated. Anyway, it's a different perspective. So for a guy like that to have to drive to Joburg to sit for an exam, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. So I think it's important for AREP to be dynamic, to be ahead of the curve, and to provide solutions that'll give guys the ability to write the exam where they are based and still have it proctored, even if you have to download an app or something like that. Guys, if Veli says, hey, Veli, Lawrence says, no, each area should have a center that is accredited for exams, no matter what exam you are writing. That is potentially true, but how many areas are there and who's paying the rent? That would push the prices for the exams up substantially. If we can get AREP back to being financially sustainable, and we have a lot of surplus cash and surplus cash flow, then I think it would be possible to set up those kinds of centers. We could even do it at some of the distributors. So it's possible to be creative. So you could do it at the offices. Most large distributors have training venues. You could use those centers, so that's possible. But then you need to have a moderator that can go in and do it, and those guys have to be paid. So let's see how we can do it. We'll be creative with the AREP team. Guys, thank you very much. That kind of wraps up the AGM. Different to other AGMs, we don't have anything to vote about. If you want, you can just give a thumbs up on the Zoom meeting if you enjoyed the meeting and the content. Thank you very much. Oh, excellent. Thanks, guys. Walter says, can you consider working with local FETs? The content is quite similar. Yeah, Walter, certainly. But how do we set that up? So it would be nice to have feedback and to have this kind of interaction. The information that you guys are giving is amazing. And it is nice to have that kind of response and that kind of interaction. So thank you very much. Guys, it's 12 o'clock for an AGM. They normally last hours. Feels like you want to fall asleep in them. I hope that this has not been one of those meetings. Thank you very much. Thanks, Donnie. Thanks, Johan. Yeah, Johan and Johan. So, Johan Swartz, I have actually added in the COC, I've added the number of solar panels in the string. I don't know whether you've logged in and have a look. You can go and have a look. Guys, there are still lots of changes we need to make. It's going to be amazing to see the COC platform working and working aligned to the SSEG test report that's in the back of the standards, as well as the hybrid test report. So you should be able to print any of the documents that you prefer. And yeah, that should be amazing. So thank you very much for all your input. There was someone who asked a question. Any advice on attending the upcoming Free Africa Solar Expo in Johannesburg this month? Yes. You don't have to take a hat because it's indoors. And remember to take some water because water there is expensive. That's the only advice I can give you. Try and register ahead of the time so that you don't stand in the long queues. And try and talk to as many people as you can to expand your network. Really, sorry, that was a bit of a tongue-in-cheek response. But if you are going through to the Solar Expo, enjoy. Thanks, Oren. I was actually thinking of you, but I didn't want to mention any brands. I saw you logging in. I didn't want to mention ARB or any of the others, but then I did it. So thanks for making the venue available. Guys, thank you very much. It's 3 minutes past 12. The meeting is officially over. Thanks for joining us. We've got an exciting session coming up on next week and Thursday, I think it is, where we've got, this is insane. So a VR, a virtual reality headset that you can use to do your design, walk through your site, and you can move equipment around. It creates your bill of materials. It reduces your risk. That is going to be epic. If you, it's a new way of doing solar system design, creating a bill of material, reducing your risk. So I'm looking forward to that session. Remember to register for next week and Thursday's session. The software is crazy. It is, they've taken, if you think of a gaming platform where you can walk through, if you've got a virtual headset on, you can walk through a field and you can pick up a rifle or ammo or resources or whatever the case may be. Now imagine you can stand in the room, your customer's room, and you can move the inverter virtually. And once you've moved it, it calculates your cables. What? I know. It's going to be exciting. You guys absolutely have to join it. It's going to be amazing. And I think it's the next level in solar PV system design. Thank you very much for joining us. That is me for the day. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week and Thursday. It's going to be epic. Thanks, guys. Keep well.